Hello, people. It's been a minute. It's probably the longest break I've taken from the podcast in a while, but we're trying to do 2 a week, maybe 3 a week. Depends how much news we get from the Seahawks. Obviously, tonight we are looking at the Seahawks 49ers 2013 NFC Championship game. Griff, did you know it was the something or other anniversary of it, like on, I think, last Friday? So we could have, if we'd done it
Mm.
then, as we had promised, we could have actually matched up the anniversaries, but instead,
We
we spaced it out.
we squandered that opportunity. Oh well, too bad. Here we
Oops,
are.
bummer. But instead, that also gives us a chance. Before we look at that, guys, we're going to take a look at the latest news. Is the Seahawks are, yep, they're still looking for a head coach, and things have
Still,
happened. So we have news. Yep. So we'll talk about that. Griff. Before that, though, have we got a preamble topic? As Monjombo, good to see you here. Yeah, so I guess that's news we need to talk about as well, Griff. That Jarek Reed is the PFWA Player of the Year,
here we
all
go.
rookie team, but not Player of the Year. But we'll talk about that in the pod. Galen, good to see. Thank you for saying part one was good. Honestly, it's great to see that you said it's so good because I was really tired and they had all the heavy stuff, and I was like, what the.
Because we
What are
haven't
they
looked at
running
that
here?
in a while. Yeah.
Well, I knew what they were running, but not the exact thing. But yeah, Griff did a great job there. Right, Griff, come on.
Well, I don't know, man. I don't have a preamble topic today. What how's the weather over there?
No, we've already done this.
I know we did that off air, but you don't think the people watching want to know what the weather's like in
So it's
London?
actually why I didn't. It's really windy right now, and there's some scaffolding outside, and I'm so scared. And like I'm looking at one of the buckles, to attach the scaffolding, and it looks like it may have come undone. And then I'm
Oh
like, no,
no.
I'm sure the people who erected this scaffolding knew what they were doing. And then they told us it would only be up for a certain amount of time, and then obviously because it's windy, they can't work on the scaffolding, so then it's going to delay it. It just increases the chances the scaffolding blows into the window. Uh,
Brutal. Hope
yeah.
all that goes well. Turns out well.
Do you call it scaffolding?
Yeah, we have scaffolding over here.
You do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
You seem skeptical.
No, no, no.
Maddie, all right, I got something. I mean, it's obvious that like cheese can last a while, right? Because it's cultured and everything.
Sure, just ask like Samuel Pepys.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Huh. You
Anyway,
should you should look that up, dude.
okay, I will. Anyway, so it never occurred to me until someone like I was watching a YouTube video and someone pointed out it was this guy,
The
the guy,
same dude.
yeah,
We've
who
got
does
to you got to plug his pod.
Towns
And
Ends, Towns End.
I say plug his thing. He probably has like
He's
a
got
100 million subscribers.
yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
so he said that cheese was originally a food preservation technique. So like cheese wasn't invented because it was like, whoa, we can make cheese because we want cheese.
Right.
And much as we have surplus milk, what do we do with it? We don't want it to go bad. We want to save the calories. Therefore, cheese. And then obviously cheese takes on its own life form, right? But I just never thought of it that way. It's like, oh yeah, of course. You're not trying to make cheese. You're trying to not waste your milk.
That makes a ton of sense, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you always think like cheese is such a weird idea, right? I mean,
Yeah.
milk's weird to start off with, but
Yeah.
yeah, but cheese, it makes sense. And then like various dairy products just are like, hey, this hasn't gone bad. This is actually kind of good. Like,
Right. Yeah.
what
It's
if
not
we
it's
what
not
if we do
killing
this
us
with
to
it?
eat it. Right.
Yeah.
Now, it does make you wonder, though, like the whole blue cheese thing and how they came up with that.
Well,
Because
that
I
was
was,
probably like, oh, it's gone bad. Well, hang on, is it bad?
yeah, hang on, Jim. I don't
This is
know.
so bad, it's good.
Yeah. But I mean, like, obviously humans have encountered mold before we knew what it was. And we're like, oh, yeah, don't
Uh
eat that.
huh.
But then someone looked at blue cheese and they're like, wait. What if this is not the bad kind? What if there's a good kind of mold? Um,
I guess
I,
sniffing. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I found that interesting.
Where are you at on blue cheese?
I like it. I prefer
What
gorgonzola.
Yes.
But
Well, so yeah, because there's two types of gorgonzola, isn't there?
what Cambozola and
I don't know what that means.
oh, okay, never mind. Forget me. But what were you gonna say though?
Well, there's like piquant gorgonzola,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's leche, I think.
Lychee.
So like one is sweet, and then one is like more like peppery, spicy, more
Hmm.
like bang.
Hmm.
I prefer the sweet one, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Um, all the food preservation techniques before refrigeration and freezing was invented is really interesting. Like there was this one where they would take salmon and like boil it in butter. Like they would get the butter boiling. They'd mix it in butter and then they'd put it into a wooden bowl and then they or a wooden pot and then they
Right.
would pack in or they would take the leftover butter and then pour it over the salmon all the way up
Yeah.
to the brim
Yeah.
and then have it congeal and dry.
Kind of like how they dry age beef now, right?
I probably. And then they would just seal it, but then the butter would act as like a barrier, like
Right.
an airtight barrier. And butter can last forever without going bad with
Huh.
some caveats, right? And then you could like have salmon last forever. Or at least through the season, whatever they needed it to last. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. And humans probably have invented all sorts of tools and things before refrigeration that we probably lost or don't think about anymore.
Yeah. True.
Interesting, isn't it? And then like how they used to transport ice over the desert, um, in Middle Eastern and North African cultures and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It would just be like they'd start with just a huge chunk of ice, just
Yep.
ginormous, and then by the time it got to its destination, it would be like 25% of its original size, but it wouldn't melt all the way. I don't know. I found that interesting.
Would they move it at night and then find a way to cover it in the day? Like how does that work?
That's a good question. I don't know if they'd move it at night, but I think that it would be covered. It would be covered for sure.
Yeah. You got
And
to insulate that.
what's that?
You've got to insulate that.
Yeah, I think it was insulated to try to minimize, the heat as possible, but it was still going to melt. But it was just
Okay.
the idea was like, just start with the bigger piece than you plan on actually, getting. But then by the time you get to a colder climate, you can put it in a what are those larder? Yeah, a larder
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
where it's cooler. I don't know. Humans are interesting, aren't they?
Yeah. My
Ice
granny had a
was
larder. There was always like interesting things in it which were like, you know, probably past their best.
thank you, Sir Hush. Ice was covered in hay. All right, there we go.
Makes a lot of sense. Are those accents legit? That's so cool having two. Wait, am I reading that right? Yeah,
Yeah,
two accents. Very cool,
it's real neat.
Mr. Hush. Daniel says, "Love your streams, Matthew with one T." Thank you, Daniel. Nice, nice picture. Right, Griff.
Yeah.
I have another preamble topic, but we can't
Oh,
just
okay.
preamble forever. So maybe
Okay.
I'll save that. I'll save that for later in the week when
Wait,
we
did I
hear.
steal your thunder? Because I thought
No,
you
no,
were.
I just thought of one.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it was a really depressing one though. So
Oh,
we'll save it for like bad podcast.
okay. Great.
Christopher, good to see you saying non-hatty matty. I mean, yeah, well, very observant of you.
I'm looking forward to it.
Henry, good morning, gentlemen. Good to see you, Henry. Munjombo will answer that on the podcast. That's a very good question.
Oh yeah.
Right, let's do this thing. Welcome to the Seattle Overload podcast, where, as promised, Griffin and I are going to continue our look back at how the Seattle Seahawks defeated the San Francisco 49ers in the 2013 NFC Championship game, which took them to Super Bowl 48. It's the second half of that game, that tape. We're going to explain the calls, do probably a better job than we did last time around, but it's great to see how people enjoyed that. Now, before that, though, we have current Seahawks news. We are doing that Pete Carroll tribute, but obviously Seattle's moved on from Pete Carroll. If you're not living under a rock, you'll know that. So there's stuff to talk about there. Now, there's also, very quickly before that, Griff, 2 Seattle players have they've earned honors, postseason, honors on 2023. 5th overall pick, nickel cornerback / outside cornerback, Devin Witherspoon, and then rookie safety, Jarek Reed II, were named to the all-rookie team. Witherspoon selected as a cornerback, and Jarek Reed II selected for his special teams play, which, Griff, was so impressive, the 6th-round pick, that I ended up highlighting him at the time before he hurt his ACL, tore his ACL, I think it was. He led the Seahawks in special teams tackles, and I believe at one point he may have led the league, or he was certainly close. He had 9 tackles on special teams overall. It was 3rd most on the team on the season, even though his season was cut short after just 10 games. So, Monjombo asked before we came on air, I wonder if the PFWA recognised Jarek Reed's play on their own, or if they got tipped off from Matty's video. I have a feeling they just look at tackle counts. To be fair to them, I only was like, hang on a sec, what's Jarek Reed doing here? Because, he'd made a few splashy plays watching on television, but I'm hardly crunching the special teams all 22 each week. I checked out his tackle stats and was like, okay. Griff.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You got to be excited about this. This is great. It's almost like the Seahawks season wasn't a disappointment, Griff.
Yeah, it's the one silver lining to everything.
Guys, this is Professional Football Writers of America, Griffin.
Right. No, I agree. I'm right there with you. This is huge. I think that it's cool because special teams is like the training ground for the depth players, and that's a lot of coaches have the philosophy of you start there and that's how you get recognized and that's how you can earn snaps and stuff, et cetera, et cetera. That was obviously one of Pete's mantras. Too bad we won't get to see what Jarek Reed's career arc would have been with Pete. But we liked his preseason tape, right? We thought he could be a high snap player at some point, so he might get a chance next year with some vacancies at safety. Or maybe a big nickel, who knows? But I would like to see him on the field, and so definitely what he's doing in special teams is part of why we're excited to see more of him in whatever capacity. So,
yes, I guess, and then Witherspoon's less of a surprise. Like he had to be on the all-rookie team. When you finish with 16 passes defensed, which is 5th in the league, 8 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and a pick 6. Also being NFC Defensive Player of the Week in Week 4 and Defensive Rookie of the Month for October. Those are, it's a pretty impressive resume, isn't it?
Indeed.
Now, we also didn't talk about, because it did happen, and I don't think we spoke about it, probably because there's the old adage that if you don't have anything nice to say, then possibly don't say it. But to his credit, Bobby Wagner was named to the Associated Press, so another big-time organization, the Associated Press All-Pro second team as a linebacker. So that's his 10th All-Pro selection out of his 12 NFL seasons. He led the league with 183 total tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, and 3 passes defensed. Good for him, Griff?
Yep, good for him. Good for the Hall of Fame.
Hope he gets paid in this cycle of free agency. He's been very successful as an agent. There were 6 other Seahawks who received All-Pro votes. This is fairly outdated news, but I think this came out almost 12 days ago now. But Corner Devin Witherspoon, 2 second-team votes. Safety Julian Love, 4 second-team votes as a safety, 4 votes as a special teamer. Punter Michael Dixon with 5 second-team votes. Kick returner DJ Dallas with 4 second-team votes. Special teamer Nick Ballore, 2 second-team votes. Long snapper Chris Stoll, 1 second-team vote. What I'd say about those votes generally is it speaks to, I think you tweeted something about how if you perform well against an East Coast team and it's in prime time, you're going to get recognition. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that could have something to do with it. But hey,
Right.
good for him.
Okay. Now, as promised, the Seahawks coaching search is going on, but coaches who were with Seattle last year, they're going on. They're moving on. So, up first, we have offensive coordinator Shane Waldron has left. He is going to the Chicago Bears. Tom Pelissero, one day ago, we're recording this, I should say, on a Tuesday. He reported the Bears are working towards a deal to hire Shane Waldron as their new offensive coordinator. Per sources, Waldron, 44 years old, spent the past 3 seasons as Seattle's offensive coordinator. Now he's expected to land in Chicago, which owns the number 1 pick with a big question looming at quarterback. That is an interesting last sentence because I know from what I heard, what Bears people were saying, Justin Fields' play was fairly solid as it improved as the year progressed. Would you hire Waldron to work with a new dude, or are you saying Fields is the guy still? Very interesting stuff. Do you have any thoughts on this, Griff?
I don't know. Good for him. I think it was telling that he got picked up like right away. There were quite a few offensive coordinator vacancies, so he was probably valued pretty highly. He did good work in Seattle. So, and so whether it's Fields or a draft pick, I'm sure Waldron wanted that job too, right? So, yeah. And cool that he's trying to get his former assistants, jobs too. Clearly valued working with them, right?
Yeah. So. There's that crazy stat that every single NFL team has had to change their offensive coordinator since 2022.
Yeah, that's insane. Like, that is absolutely insane.
The turnover.
That comes from, I guess guys getting hired away, getting fired. And then, the head coach getting fired, and then everyone's kind of out of a job naturally.
Right.
But there's been some absolutely crazy, the OC sucks stuff going on recently. And now that's certainly true for some teams, but why on earth was Ken Dorsey fired in Buffalo? The offense was worse under Joe Brady, slightly.
Because I feel they felt they lacked the run game balance.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know. Obviously, Waldron wasn't. He was fired in a sense, right? But he wasn't get the OC out of here. That's not really what happened. It's just kind of what happens when you fire the head coach, And
I think they felt they lacked the complementary football element. But yeah.
But that's not. Maybe Pete felt that way.
No, sorry, I was talking about Dorsey there.
Oh, got you. Yeah, maybe.
A lot of the Waldron issues really come back to the offensive line being bad. I don't know how much you can.
Yeah.
Well,
it will always warrant the question, what does this season look like if Cross and Lucas stay on the field? That's not a lot to ask.
Yeah, but even then, right guard was always going to be a challenge, and
it would be a challenge, but
they seem to get worse at things they shouldn't have got worse at, when the tackles came back, Although Lucas back seemed to give him a much higher ceiling, as it would, and then the fact he went back out again, that did not help, did it?
No, the Steelers' protection was rough,
right?
But then Geno and the receivers performed in spite of it anyway. That game was kind of like the Lions game, right? And the Panthers game. And they were just able to put it together.
Yeah, and we'll have the chance to obviously Seattle has a somewhat of a decision potentially looming around quarterback Geno Smith, and listeners of the show will know how, we think that's not really a decision. Like, Geno Smith should be the quarterback of the Seahawks next year, and probably moving forward from that as well. But the reason I say all that is we'll have a chance to look at the rest of the offense through that, guys, because we'll probably have to do a podcast on Geno Smith and how last year went and what he can be still. But in terms of Waldron, this is the last we're probably gonna really have the chance to talk about him. I've seen you have an interesting take on him versus Bobby Slovic, who's obviously, potentially a head coach candidate for Seattle, a guy people like the look of, what he did with Houston this year, rookie quarterback CJ Stroud, his first year calling the plays in Houston, bringing those kind of Shanahan elements in there. But you have a feeling that Waldron is, well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Griff.
Well, I mean, if I was given the choice between the two, based off of what Waldron's done in Seattle and what Slovic's done with only 1 year with Houston, I would err on the side of Waldron, at least for Seattle's purposes. But so, like, the logic behind bringing in one of the offensive minds really is that none of them, with maybe the exception of Ben Johnson, like, I don't think any of them are a clear upgrade on Waldron as a play caller or offense in general. So the theory behind getting one of them in there is like trying to get back to neutral with your offensive scheme. And then also there's more stuff to it. Like, if you make the play caller at the head coach, you don't have to worry about losing him. Right. So for long-term sustainability, I get all that. But I don't see anything that Slovic does, and it just blows me away relative to what Seattle already had. So and especially Slovic in particular, like, even if you were to say Waldron and Slovic are equals, I would still prefer Waldron for the stylistic reasons, because what Slovic does really well, Seattle's already like the rest of the league at, like the under center play action, even if you were to translate the same concepts to shotgun, like, Seattle can't get better at that, like, realistically. So his edge that he brings, Seattle's already like as sharp on that edge as you can be. When you get into the pure drop back stuff, Waldron's stuff is better. It just is. And granted, CJ Stroud is a rookie. He had a good rookie year, but his third downs down the stretch tanked. Like, the Seahawks over the second half of the season were like 8th with Geno, and then they were like, the Texans were like 24th with Stroud. And then if you look at pure dropbacks, so non-play action dropbacks on early downs, the Seahawks are like 5th for the whole season, even the first half of the year, and the Texans are like middle of the pack. Again, you can cite it's CJ Stroud's a rookie, but like the Texans have, even though their O-line's been injured, they have a way better O-line than the Seahawks do, and that's when pure dropback situations is when the O-line is really called on. You can't hide the O-line as much, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just like what Slovic does, Seattle already does well. So he's not going to make you better in those areas. And then I think you only risk getting worse in the areas around him. Now, that doesn't mean that he would actually make you worse. He just might get you back to neutral. Like, but yeah. There's nothing superficially that makes you think, oh, he's going to deliver them into another realm of offense that we haven't seen. To me, if you bring him in, the only thing that will get the offense from like the 8th to 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th range to approach top 5 is the O-line getting healthy.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables here, and obviously the offensive line is a real, and the difference between that in Houston and Seattle is a big one, and then Geno Smith's experience and veteran savvy and ability to read the game compared to the rookie of CJ Stroud, as impressive as Stroud has been. Those are the two like big kind of differences, but yeah, no Waldron in Seattle next year. So whoever is the play caller, whether it is an offensive head coach they hire or whatnot, it's going to be interesting to see if they are able to improve and how that offensive line gets on as well, and how John Schneider does in building that up. Now, with Waldron going to the Bears, Jonathan Jones of the lead NFL insider for NFL on CBS reports that He's set up interviews with Seahawks coaches Chad Morton, the running backs coach, who's also the run game coordinator the last 2 years, Sanjay Lal, and who is the wide receivers coach this year, and also he had a year hiatus, but had 2 stints in Seattle, and also quarterbacks coach Kerry Joseph. Jeremy Fowler today reported that Lyle indeed did an interview with the Bears for the offensive staff position. So there you go, Griff. And then also attracting attention is former Seahawks offensive line coach Andy Dickerson. He interviewed today with the Cincinnati Bengals for their offensive coordinator job after Brian Callahan left to go and be Tennessee Titans head coach. Dickerson, I think, also got interest from the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, both those offensive coordinator spots are places where the head coach is an offensive mind in Zach Taylor, in Kevin Stefanski. But it's kind of a step up for Dickerson in that, he would, be one rung up from where he's been. Mm-hmm. I don't have that many thoughts on it other than, the Seattle's offensive line. Yeah, they had injuries. Yeah, they probably did well to start with, given the injuries, all things considered. I think Waldron did pretty good, didn't he, scheming around that as well. But then as the year developed, Seattle seemed to get worse at things that they shouldn't have got worse at. Just the way they handled stunts was just so poor, and the way they were not being square and turning and stuff like that was just weird. And so I would have a question mark next to Dickerson's name. We did wonder if, this was a world where Pete Carroll was the Seahawks head coach. We wondered if maybe Waldron would be retained, but Dickerson fired. And, could that even happen with the two of them coming together? It's like almost a package deal. It'll be interesting to see if he does take an OC job and, kind of a promotion, or if he does end up going to the Bears as their offensive line coach with his old pal, Shane Waldron. Obviously, I think they went to the same college, or was it high school? But they go way back, so.
Yeah, they do go way back. Yeah, good for Andy. Hope he gets to do something with this opportunity. I wonder if he would have gotten that interview had the Seahawks staff not been blown up. So in a way, this kind of worked out for him if he gets the job, right? Because it's a promotion, so. Right. I don't know, and it's kind of a comfy job because he doesn't have to call plays, and there will probably be job security there for a while because he doesn't have to call plays, But
okay, so the Seahawks are losing all these coaches. So who are they going to get? Well, I don't know if you can say it's clearer, but there's the same names recurring. So there you go. Tom Pelissero reported January 21st. When is that? That's Sunday. He reported on Sunday that the Seahawks were setting up a second interviews with head coaching candidates, including Panthers defensive coordinator Ajiro Evero, Raiders DC Patrick Graham, Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka, Rams DC Raheem Morris, and Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn. Per sources, there likely will be others too. Then Pelissero, the following day on the Monday, reported that the Commanders are planning to bring in Dan Quinn for a second interview per source. So, Griff, kind of the expected names, right?
Yeah, expected names. It's interesting that Ben Johnson didn't get a second interview, but then he throws in that last comment at the end about there will likely be others too. So, what does that really mean?
It means he's covering. He's got some names, but he wants to cover the fact that he doesn't have all the names necessarily.
Right. So I don't know how to read into it of the names that are listed and those that aren't. Right. Maybe they intended to have 2 interviews with everybody, and they're just trying to complete these second interviews to clear their schedule for getting in the second interview with Johnson. They did interview with Slovic, right? Did they do that once? I think they did. Under the assumption that they did, maybe they intend to get a second one with him, and then they haven't been able to interview McDonald at all. So, and this process might go on for a while. It might go on longer than most weeks. So who knows? I mean,
Yeah, they put in a request to interview Texans offensive coordinator for the head coaching job.
okay.
That was reported by Pelissero on Tuesday, January 16th.
Yeah. So I don't know if I suspect that there will be another batch of names that will come out.
Yeah, and
So interviewed with the Seahawks, but
yeah,
it is interesting that the only offensive coach listed is Kafka.
yeah. Well, yeah, it is, but I don't know how much to read into that, Griff, because sorry to cut you off, but
No, it's
I think they're waiting to do these in-person interviews. So, like starting Monday, as Brady Henson of ESPN reported, the Seahawks can hold in person with candidates from teams whose seasons are over. Or they can do the virtual ones, but I think they've done virtual ones with this first batch of names of guys who are already kind of out the playoffs.
Yeah.
And now the next wave will come, and then think about the next wave. That'll be Slovic. That'll be Canales if they're interested in that.
Yeah.
So I think maybe there'll be a sprinkling of more offensive names after. I mean,
Canales would be cool.
Sorry, what was that?
I said Canales would be
Yeah.
cool. But so Canales is already on his second interview with the Panthers, and supposedly someone tweeted that reported that they went really well too. Who knows if that's just an agent, if that's from the team side. I have heard rumblings that the Panthers specifically want to go offense.
Yeah.
So that probably puts them out of the running for McDonald.
Okay.
And if we look at the landscape of names, it sounds like Bill's going to be the Falcons coach. Jim
Bill
Harbaugh's
Belichick.
Bill Belichick. Jim Harbaugh sounds like he's going to be the Chargers coach.
Yep.
And then people have said from the onset that the Commanders are likely going to be Ben Johnson's first target and vice versa, because you can draft top three there too, right?
The Commanders, who, as we've just seen, have got a second interview of Dan Quinn, which is a really interesting one because, guys, is there an argument that the Washington Commanders is a more attractive job for Dan Quinn than the Seattle Seahawks? Obviously, you have the history of Dan Quinn being in Seattle before, knowing John Schneider, but also from his perspective, would he want to go uber, kind of ambitious, where I don't know what the kind of general manager position is there, if they'd want to turn it over again, probably not. But the Commanders have a real good draft assets. It would be kind of more of an opportunity, I would say, for him to shape in his image. I don't know, but it will say a lot. It would say a lot about how Seattle was viewed by someone who knows him very well. You'd think if he were to pick, and he was to be given the opportunity to pick the Commanders over the Seahawks. But as Griff said, it sounds like they're leaning offense.
Right.
First.
So with the Titans going to Brian Callahan,
Yep.
which was a surprise to me, that only leaves the Seahawks and the Panthers as the only two vacancies, really. Right. So that means the Seahawks, like with them taking their time with the names that have been listed and the names that haven't been listed, maybe Schneider and Vulcan is kind of reading the tea leaves, and they're like, well, we have our pick of McDonald, Quinn, maybe Slovic. Slovic probably will be without a job this draft cycle, or this hiring cycle. I think he'll have to go back as an OC, but it will be between him, Kafka, Quinn, McDonald, Evero, and then who's and Frank Smith, right? I don't think Morris and Graham are going to really be considered. I think it's going to be down to Evero, Quinn, McDonald, and then Kafka. And I really think honestly, my hunch is that Kafka is going to be the lone offensive name in consideration. And so if it's offense or defense, offense will be Kafka. If it's defense, it's going to be one of those three names, I think. I don't know. What do you think? What's your vibe? What's your take on all of it?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
And I honestly think, little nuggets come out from different reporters, and they're doing a great job of getting the scoops, getting the details, and all that sort of stuff. But Schneider basically said, they're going to leave no stone unturned. it wouldn't shock me if they'll take an in-person interview with every single candidate who's interested, who they don't think is a complete, crap candidate. Like,
and what's the harm in doing that, right? Because you just get
yeah,
insight.
I mean, I don't know how it works. I don't know how it works necessarily. Like, if you come across like you're wasting time, but I'd imagine not. Like, I think guys appreciate probably the opportunity to have an in-person interview. I mean, it's good prep for them down the line, even if they don't get the job. But I also think that there's more of a willingness and appetite for these interviews to take longer than, say, in like, we've heard how that in recent years the head coaching hiring has taken a bit longer, and that there's been less of an urgency and a rush to do it. So when Brady Henderson of ESPN says, I have not seen a report stating the Seahawks have interviewed Mike McDonald, so unless that happened and wasn't reported, they'd have to wait until after the Ravens season's over to interview him, if they're even interested in doing so. Well, one, maybe they have reported of him, but then two, they might be really slow playing this. Now,
Right.
I know it's been theorized. I know people are really big fans of McDonald. Maybe he doesn't have that experience Schneider was talking about. He mentioned experience is a big kind of thing they're looking for in his press conference that he did prior to these interviews. But I don't think you can... I don't know if Seattle was technically allowed to conduct their first interview of him because he's in the conference championship. Or if he was in the conference championship. So, and then they wouldn't be able to in person with him if they reach the Super Bowl until after the Super Bowl. So, like, the timeline does get a bit shrunk. But I would be surprised if they haven't somehow found a way to interview with him.
Right.
But anyway, we liked the idea of McDonald because it's a really ambitious kind of move, right? And it's swinging for the fences.
Right.
And obviously, it's not just that. It's exciting because of how well his defense is played. But I don't know how much to read into this,
Totally. And I mean, he also fits, or the personnel, the Seahawks personnel fits him pretty well too, I mean, really, the Seahawks personnel kind of fits any scheme at the moment. But anyway.
Right. There you go.
Anyway, we'll find out. Do you want to? What does your gut tell you happens, regardless of what you want to have happen?
Well, my gut tells me Dan Quinn.
Yeah, same. Quinn or Kafka.
And my gut told me Dan Quinn from very early.
Yeah.
Just because it's not a complete shock to the defense. I think he could do things with the defensive personnel, although it'd be nice if he could bring Micah Parsons along with him. I think culturally it's definitely not a shock. Like, he really has implemented elements of the Carroll system. He's a popular coordinator. Now, where it gets interesting, if it is Dan Quinn, Griff, is OC.
Right.
And this tweet went big today from Shane Hoffman, who I personally haven't heard of Shane Hoffman. And I'm sure he hasn't heard of me. So that's hardly, I'm hardly a big time dude either. But a freelancer with Oregon links, I believe they wrote about the Oregon Ducks, saying, hearing that not only is an NFL return likely for former Oregon coach Chip Kelly, but that it could take the form of a package deal with Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, the Seahawks are a likely destination. So Shane shot his shot. Griff, pinch of salt with this one, right? But
I don't think I would like that. I don't think I'd like Chip Kelly at OC.
Well, there's been like murmurings around his future at UCLA for a while. I don't know if he's like kind of sick of how college is, but that would be something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they hire a defensive-minded coach who is calling plays, that would be the most interesting. Well, that would be the second most interesting thing to consider, right? But Kafka. If Kafka doesn't get the Seahawks head coaching job, he's not getting a head coaching job anywhere. And I still think he wants to get a play calling gig somewhere, so he could still very much be in the running for OC. I mean, if he's in the running for head coach, obviously Schneider would be like, talk to whoever he does hire, be like, what do you think about Kafka? And I don't think Quinn would care, you know. But there are other names out there that are quality offensive coordinator candidates too. So Ken Dorsey, Frank Reich, Pep Hamilton. I'm blanking. Oh, Kellen Moore would probably be an obvious choice. I think it would be Moore and Kafka would be the top two choices, with Dorsey maybe a close third. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll just have to keep waiting, right? I want the picture to define itself more, but I don't think it is.
No, and so timeline-wise, it does get a bit interesting because the Senior Bowl, the Reese's Senior Bowl, which Seattle in the past, and I believe this is more of a Schneider thing than a Pete Carroll thing, like he is after all and has been the general manager, but the Reese's Senior Bowl starts the week before. Wait, hang on. When does it start? Let me get the exact date. Yes, it's around. It's like early February. So it's during or used to be during the championship games. So it's like not. It's next week. No, it's 2 weeks, which is crazy. So no, it is technically next week. So with the practices. So the fact that they won't have a head coach for that isn't ideal. But then, as John Schneider revealed, he is now in full control of personnel decisions. The buck stops with him legally in his contract. The language reflects that. So I don't know if it's that big a deal, although it would be nice if you knew what scheme you were, scouting for. I guess it just gives the scouts more work, and I guess player eval is player eval. You then tier them based, you then, exclude them off your board based on character first and foremost, or bump them up on character, and then you kind of stack them based on scheme fit. Like, it's very rare that a player can't fit in a scheme at all. Like, you can find a way to use them. It just might bump them up a few spots or down a few spots. Yeah.
And I really wonder. I really wonder if Schneider is also interviewing so many of the defensive names for head coach, and they're doubling as a interview for defensive coordinator, right? If they end up going offense.
Would you like? I don't want to be mean, because I think Mike Kafka's done, particularly last year, he did some really impressive things with Daniel Jones,
right?
And how they use Saquon Barkley.
Kafka is like more impressive than it's as impressive what Ben Johnson's doing right now.
Right, and it's weird, like you don't know how much that's Brian Daboll, and this year how Daboll's like wrestling away play calling from Kafka. Right. It's kind of odd, but I would be shocked if and we've heard for a while how Mike Kafka, from like the coaching community, how Mike Kafka's a really good coach, but it is kind of odd to me that he's head coaching material, especially with how this past season went. So then what is Schneider really doing there?
Well, I mean, Schneider has the relationship with
course.
Holmgren and Reed, right?
Of course.
So he values that coaching tree, and Reed went above and beyond, like imploring the Cardinals to hire him, and they didn't end up hiring him. They ended up hiring Gannon, I think, which was an interesting choice, but the Eagles were a good defense. So, I mean, Kafka's probably on the short list for quite a few names, and maybe that's just Schneider wanting to look at more than one tree,
right.
And it's like, because there's the Reed tree of the West Coast offense, going back to, and then there's the Shanahan tree and the kind of the Gruden tree, right? And right now it's like maybe he's like, well, maybe the Reed tree, maybe the next Reed guy is the big name, right? So you're taking a leap of faith with all of the offensive names. Clearly, he doesn't want to go. I mean, there haven't been any interviews with Canales yet for a reason, probably. Maybe that's mutual. Who knows? But it's Shanahan or Reed at this point. And
Yeah,
so I don't know. There might be something. There might be something to Kafka.
and Canales had a second interview, I think, with the Panthers, or was due one.
Yeah.
And he put that on his Instagram that he was interviewing there. So I think he's wanting to get his name out there a bit. And so you'd think he'd have done that with Seattle if he had. But yeah, we're still in this kind of holding pattern, aren't we? But
Right.
my opinion hasn't really changed. I think Dan Quinn's the most likely. I think that's what we said at the time as well. So
Right.
and just seems obvious. But what's funny is since that point, he got absolutely gashed. His defense did. And the whole national talk shows and stuff were like, oh my gosh, Dan Quinn's a fraud and all that stuff.
Well, it's so funny because go ahead, finish your thought. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, you'll be saying similar things to me, and I don't want to steal your thunder, but they how have they been good? Is they've been able to play man coverage, and sprinkle in kind of change up calls, and get away with real kind of subpar rostering of their linebacker position after Jalen Smith, Leighton Van Der Esch, and essentially play, almost safety body types more and done really impressive things with that. And then you just saw that come to a head against the team who had the perfect game plan to stop that. But you've been getting away with your corner stuff, especially if Trayvon Diggs out for the year. And then it just got toasted in ways where, watching that Green Bay game plan, they're just doing cheesy. It's like on Madden, if they're in man and you basically find a way to block a play up where you get max protection, you run back as far as possible, and then you run the cheesy beta route where it's just a fake ass, they're running 15-yard out route off Max Pro. And it's not even just the vanilla out route, it fakes as though it's bending across the field and then comes back across, and they were complete. That's how they hit it on Gilmore. Gilmore regressed in that game. So guys are going to get beat occasionally. I understand the concerns where it's not how Mike McDonald's been able to just destroy that kind of tree, the tree that Seattle's had so many problems with over the years, the tree that has, in their division is so prominent. But yeah, Griff, you're probably going to say similar.
Yeah, the funny thing about that is, you have a horrible game against Matt LaFleur. People connect LaFleur to the Shanahan-McVay tree, and they go, oh, great. Well, Dan Quinn's terrible against that tree. So he got destroyed by LaFleur. But if you want to talk about his performances against those actual coaches themselves, Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay, ever since they got head coaching jobs, as head coach of the Falcons or DC of the Cowboys, Dan Quinn's a combined 6-4 against the division. Relax. He doesn't have a fundamental flaw against them. Those are really good offenses, and they're going to light up just about any defense from time to time. But all in all, he's won more games than he's lost. And even in two of the games that he's lost to the 49ers, he bottled up Kyle Shanahan in two of those losses. When they lost in the playoffs last year, they held them to 20 points. And then the previous year in the playoffs in the wild card game, they also lost because their offense didn't do anything. But they held them to I don't know. We can look it up. It was under 20 again. So he's defended Kyle Shanahan well. He's defended Sean McVay quite well before. In the Super Bowl year, they played them. I think the Rams had the Rams Super Bowl. The Rams had one of their worst games of their season against the Cowboys. And then I think even last year before Stafford got hurt, he had one of his worst seasons again. So this idea that he can't defend them is just wrong. He's 2-3 against Shanahan and 4-1 against McVay, or something like that.
And yeah, Parsons is a great player, and their front is built real nasty, but is in their D line, kind of players. But the linebacker position, and then the secondary, they were getting away with it for a while.
Yeah, it's the Cowboys defense was kind of a house of cards roster, and I
Yeah,
think
that's yes.
yeah, and Quinn like used them to the greatest extent. I think 2022 is the real year to watch what he would do with close to like not ideal personnel, but like personnel where you're checking off enough boxes to run the defense you really want to run. And that was where Quinn was able to match up with personnel more. He could coach the fundamentals of his zone drops and stuff, and that's like is what I think makes a defense sustainable. Is how good is your organization with the underneath in your zone, whether it's 2 high zone or 1 high zone, cover 3 or cover 6 quarters. And then he also was, he was able to disguise stuff. He even got a little jiggy with it, like showing cover 1 and then falling back into zone, and showing cover 3 robber and then playing cover 1, So I mean, he when he has linebackers, when he has a functional second level, he uses that as a schematic pivot point. So I mean, he's not, and also like we're talking the Carroll tree right now, and that kind of is loose terms, and all these trees, kind of take on their own life, right? Different branches, but like looking around the league, the Carroll tree is the Dallas Cowboys, it's the solid Jets, it's the 49ers still, and it's the D'Amico Ryans Texans. Like they're working out of the same playbook. Yeah, they've added some stuff, but most of it is just living in different areas of the playbook. But the Seahawks have done that too. The Seahawks just haven't had the talent of those units. So like it's not as though the Carroll like Kiffin foundation doesn't work in the modern NFL. Any good defense needs great talent. Like that goes for the Fangio group, that goes for Mike McDonald, that goes for Rex Ryan and Greg Williams and Jim Schwartz. Like all of these trees that are around the league, they all need talent. But like once you accept that premise that yeah, they all need talent, the Carroll tree works in the NFL still. Like it's working right now. I think that all these guys have learned the lesson that yes, it's so much easier when you've got Quinn and Williams up front, or Nick Bosa, what have you, right? Micah Parsons. Yeah, go find that guy. Go find your Michael Bennett, Dan Quinn in Seattle if you come to Seattle. But the point is that like it's not like the defense is behind the times. If anything, it has lots of answers for what Shanahan and McVay are doing.
What's interesting to me is the McDonald thing's so tantalizing because of how there's that lack of the obvious blue chip front player. But I know, is it Madubuike is playing really good football?
I mean, he's simply just way better than anyone thought he was. Like, I mean, he is a top 15, top 10 defensive tackle.
Right, yeah. So they're kind of getting there, but yeah.
I mean, Clowney's having a legitimately great year, so.
It'd be so interesting to see him stay there and see what they can do the next year.
McDonald?
Yeah, because...
And I think he might.
Because part of this, he might definitely. But like how long does Harbaugh have left? Like if they win a Super Bowl this year, like what happens there? Like, but yeah, that the ideas that the way that they kind of layer their calls in and everything, it's not new, but it's like the new wave, like the fresh thing. As we've seen with the Fangio stuff, like when guys cotton on to that, the betas become more prevalent, as happened with Seattle stuff, and how they respond from that will be really interesting. Second year would be very interesting for me.
Indeed, agreed.
Right, now, you spoke about the Pete Carroll tree. Well, earlier today, Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk, presumably Mike Florio, I think he operates this account, but he tweeted, in relation to the Los Angeles Chargers job, we heard earlier today that Pete Carroll is making a push for the job. Mike Vrabel is also in the mix. So, Griff, is this... I mean, how much do you read into this? Is this Harbaugh trying to seal the deal? Show that he's got... he's beat Pete Carroll to the job? Is it Pete Carroll trying to get his name in there and beat Harbaugh to the job? Or is this just... it seems very late for Carroll to suddenly be like, oh, yes, I want that job.
I'm curious how how Florio got a hold of that and nobody else. I feel like Rich Eisen would have gotten a hold of that. I
Yeah.
feel like if Pete was pushing for a job, he would want the media to catch wind of that
I
and
mean,
like get his name out into the headlines and everything. So I don't know.
he
I would
did
love
say
Pete.
that he's at the end of his press conference that he's jacked and he's pumped and he's all those things.
Yeah, but he will always be jacked up. I do believe he wants to coach. I just don't know if it's this year. I don't know if I don't know. I mean,
Monjombo asks, will you guys rebrand the Charters Overload podcast if Pete pursues gets the head coach job? Monjombo also saying it would also be good thematically overload electricity by charging too long. Yes, very good.
yeah,
We also had another question about that. I mean, it's kind
yeah,
of like we said in that it got increasingly sad, the live stream we did after Pete Carroll was fired and that was announced. But yeah, we definitely would, right? I would.
yeah, absolutely.
We'd have like one show a week where we do
Yeah, we
Pete
do one
Carroll.
show and just the defense, right?
Yeah. Well, no, because you could do how the offense is pass heavy.
Yeah, we could have a little
Just
like
just
5 minute.
run over expected rates.
Yeah, we just have 5 minutes. Like Pete Carroll actually is a pass first coach, despite what you
Yeah.
think.
In this
Um,
week, yeah.
yeah, in this week in Pete
But
Carroll,
that seems
what if we garnered like a Chargers audience?
yeah.
We'd be very confused.
Yeah. And we completely forgot to really talk about Vrabel. Like he's still a name floating around, but he seems like the backup to
Yeah,
Quinn,
he's not
right?
he's not going to be. I don't see him getting a job this cycle. As crazy as that sounds.
Yeah. He almost needs like a kind of like a Dan Campbell. He needs like a spot where they just need a cultural
Yeah,
like they're in a hole. They need a dude to come in and just build them. Like they're in a mess. I mean, how
yeah.
many jobs are like complete like messes right now?
Well. Think about the Broncos though. Where did Dan Campbell came from the Saints, right? With Sean Payton, and
Yep.
Sean Payton kind of like Sean even said like he let Dan run team meetings. He kind of was like literally like a second head coach
Right.
in terms of like organizing and running the show and motivating and
Mm-hmm.
everything. And then Payton was really just like the OC, right?
Yep.
I wonder if he'd be like, hey, Vrabel, come in and play some sort of role like that so I can just focus on game planning and shit. I don't know. I could see him going to Denver. Plus, those are two personalities that
Vrabel with
probably.
Russell Wilson.
Oh, Russ won't be there. Russ won't be there.
Okay. They'll
But
have to
but
work
but
that
I
out.
could see Sean and Vrabel getting along well, and for like all the wrong reasons. But I
Right.
don't know. All right. Wow.
Okay.
So
So,
let's do like a square hour on this. I don't know if we'll get through the whole second half.
oh no, we have to.
All right. Let's
We
do
have
it.
to. There's no option. We've promised people.
All
What's
right.
going on with this though? Why is it so messed up? Let me. Okay, so the second half of Seahawks 49ers. What is this? Let me just go full screen, man. There we go. Now, in terms of this, would this be better? Probably, but then potentially not. Anyway, we'll see. So, how did I get there? Was it this? No. I've done that thing
That's
again.
That's fine.
That's fine. Right. So, the first half, if we remember, there was a lot of heavy stuff. There was the 49ers offensive line like messing up blocks like really badly. Like their execution was bad like in the run game.
Mm-hmm.
And then just a quick statistical recap, Griff. In the first half, the Seahawks allowed 3 completions for 17 yards. And then they bottled up Frank Gore 7 carries for 12 yards, a 1.7 yards per carry average. And then Anthony Dixon, the 49ers fullback, had 2 carries for 1 yard, 0.5 yards per carry. But Colin Kaepernick, after 7 carries for not very much, he ended up with a 58-yard scramble play, which was the only big play Seattle allowed. So it was kind of a big play. The offense did nothing really in this first half for Seattle, and so they're down 10-3. But the defense was absolutely kicking butt. Just basically a broken play when they had good coverage on it.
All right. So offset eyes, slot, motion to the backfield.
So that's like they're playing.
That's really wacky. I think me. Okay, there we go.
He lines up on the wrong side.
Yeah. So it's
Okay, so let's go through it again, chat. So corner, Sam, big end, nose, 3, Leo, which is Clemens, I believe. Strong safety, Mike, Will, corner, Mr. Earl Thomas. So this is looking like an over front, right, Griff? But
right.
it's essentially the thing we've been seeing all the time, guys, where typically Cam would be the force, but because it's a nub set, so there's no receiver out here, you can bring the corner involved, and then you can get this guy off ball. This is another like completely. I cheated and watched this play just before we came on, Griff. Forgive me. But I don't know what they're doing.
Real quick for the audience, though. So when we look at the front structure, you'll notice that the nose, Brandon Mebane, is a cocked one technique, and the big end are always on the same side with each other.
Yeah.
So they're on the same side of the center, and then the 3 tech and the Leo would be on the same side. And we said how last time how the Leo travels with the 3 technique. So, but think like 3 tech side and nose side, nose big end side, 3 tech Leo side. So they're like the 3 tech and the nose would never be on the same side in their base stuff, right? That would be like an overload front pass rush situation. So there's the Mebane Red Bryant side and the McDaniel Clemens Bennett side. I think that's Bennett right now at Leo. But
and big thinking as well is a lot of the time the down safety will go to where the 3 technique is. Now there's a lot of reasons for that, but in super basic terms, it's to give this guy an easier fit to match his coverage responsibility.
Yeah. Also, we can kind of, because sometimes people equate the will with an outside linebacker.
Yeah. This is the will.
You'll notice the will is as inside as you can be. He's literally in the A gap. So both the Mike and Will are inside linebackers.
Yeah, because a lot of the times, I mean, this is an over front, right? But a lot of the time, it's more like a 6-2 with these 2 off ball inside, or it's like a 5-3, 5-2, where again these 2 are the 2 like inside guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Mike often more outside. So I don't know what they're doing. I don't know why they get so confused. I think the way that this shifts breaks them, and then how heavy this 3 plays, but they just completely...
Right. So, well, wait a second. Is it like...
But we've seen this before where the guard climbs up thinking that that's going to happen, I think.
Well, all right. So is it stretch? Is it lead zone?
They pin and fold over here.
Okay. But then is it like split action with Vernon Davis? Or are they just trying to add split action to it?
I have no idea. The way the guard climbs it, it's like he thinks he's getting help.
Yeah. Dude, so I still can't get over this because the Saints, regardless of what Davis is doing, they run the same pin and fold adjustment on the
front side.
Technique. Yeah, and look how Red Bryant plays this. Because the previous game,
he's been cheating it, right? We saw it in the first half. He's not cheating it, but he's been extra aware of the threat of it.
Yeah, look at Bobby get front side leverage on the fullback too.
Yeah, that's impressive.
So Bobby and Bryant really make this thing work here.
Right. Because
So
what essentially, chat, what's happening here at the second level is lever, spill, lever. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 gaps for them to account for, and so Seattle's playing with a 9-man front by involving this corner. So we've got force over here, we've got force over here, and then there's various moving parts to this, right? But because they've got the extra guy for that, Bobby knows he can stay front side on the fullback. But the 49ers must have been like kicking themselves. Like, I don't know what they just got really confused by these fronts.
yeah, and your blocking scheme being dependent on trying to like pin a head up four technique that is Red Bryant
Yeah.
is difficult. All right, we got a
So
trips
this,
check.
yeah, this looks like Phoenix, right? So tank buzz zone. So it's nickel defense. So here's our nickel. Here's our corner in the deep third. Here's our corner in the deep third. Here's our Mike in the weak hook. Here's our strong safety ready to come down in that strong hook on the 3. Then here's our post safety in the post third. Could be something different though, Griff. Like, because the whole point of Phoenix is it can look like cover 1. So here's our man. Here's our man. Here's our man.
Right.
Here's our man. Here's our rat or spy, given it's Colin Kaepernick. Here's our man. Here's our post third defender.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Cam's just coming down and killing stuff. So it's not exactly split flow because the back doesn't release fast. He checks and releases, but so Bobby's playing Cam's playing the number 2. I think it's just spot drop, right? This for Cam. He's just playing his hook, coming down on his hook, and then just read and reacting.
Yeah, well, he's playing his 3, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pure QB vision and understanding when this is tight, get on that, and then as it goes to Bobby, he can whack the check down.
Yeah. So Bobby would technically have to carry 3, although he kind of spot drops it. He kind of opens up to it.
I think he sees QB set up.
Yeah, you're right. And he knows with Earl he can play it a little careful.
It's a really good drop from Bobby, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it is. Agreed. So we look at Cam's initial alignment in the strong hook. That's a huge reason why, because they would rotate this way, rotate strong. That's why they didn't get daggered a lot, because that strong hook is there and that dig window has depth. When they stopped rotating with their safety into the strong hook, that was when they started getting daggered a lot more. And it was Bobby in the strong hook, and his initial alignment would be more shallow. They'd have, after Cam left, it would be like Bradley McDougald in the weak hook, and then Bobby in the strong hook, and then that dig route would go over the top of Bobby. And it wasn't until like 2019 when Bobby finally like played it better.
Yeah.
Played it really well in 2019 and 2020, like amazingly.
But yeah, just the angle of Cam's drop, you can see how to even get to the shallow, he's coming through here, so it's forcing. Yeah. Whereas if he's coming from here, then he's trying to get under this, and there's a real sudden high-low conflict where he's able to work kind of just down all the way through to that.
Yeah. And like, you know, they played Mike Shanahan, right? In Washington, they've played Kubiak, and they played McVay in 17 before that first game, and they threw dagger at him, and they defended it well because of this principle, and because of Earl Thomas is just insane. He could kind of erase both routes, the through route and the dig somehow from the deep middle safety, because he's an insane person. Or he'd be playing the weak hook. But anyway, Um, it kind of makes you wonder, like, why not just be a strong rotation cover 3 team? I mean, they were kind of with, well, it was more weak rotation, but when they kind of got a similar aspect out of it, the whole staggered hook thing.
With
In the
what
second,
personnel?
well, in the second half of 2020 with Jamal, when they played a bunch of buzz, right? They kind of
Uh,
recaptured that,
because
but
they were in, because they were so, um, because how often did you get Trey? Like, I don't know, Griff. It's a
yeah,
good question.
I don't know. But I feel like with like, obviously McDougal isn't going to be Cam, but during that period, why not just have keep Bobby as the weak hook? That's totally fine. He can handle any speed at 3, and then just put McDougal in the strong hook. Man, I don't know. They didn't do it often enough though. They did it some, but it would have been the answer to a lot of problems.
Yeah, I guess maybe from a disguise purpose standpoint, they felt they had to be able to threaten man on the 3, and often the 3 was speed of 3, not a tight end anymore. So they were
Oh, good
like, we
point.
don't have enough layers. But
Good
I
point.
don't know. So that brings up again immediate tackle of the check down because you have the depth. You're in second 11 now. It's 3rd and 5. Uh, this looks like well, it depends. Looks like Phoenix again. Although actually technically Phoenix checked, right? Because they've the well, I don't know. The nickel's here and he's in the weak hook technically. Wow, that's there's some aggressive play here. Oh, damn. So this is playing down and distance and the sticks.
So yeah, so Bobby's initial drop is really good.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's I don't know like what happened to that. Like you don't need athleticism to do what he just did. I don't understand why he's not doing that consistently, but
Yeah.
I don't
This
know,
is kind
man.
of not so Kaepernick, right?
Yeah.
So let's
I'm surprised. I know Cam because they're passing off shallows. I'm surprised Cam abandons his depth
well, I think
so
if you pause
quickly.
it, like they get back in. Oh, they get back away, which is difficult for Cam.
I guess he's fine. Cam's fine. He's handling 2 routes. It's
Yeah.
just that dig route. If the pressure isn't there, if Cap was of the mind that the dig route would wrap over the top of Bobby, but
Yeah,
but
it
but
looks
then
like
also we don't know if Bobby would melt back with it either, right? If Cap stayed in the pocket.
right with it's almost 4 to a side, right?
Yeah.
Um and I wonder about pass rush wise. It's you surely a design flush, but they seem slightly late to that. Well, they're not
McDonald.
really. Kaepernick's just a joke.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And if every 3rd and 5's like that, then you'll take that
Right.
because that's nasty.
Yep. Cam's
So
close on that is hilarious anyway.
yeah. So this is probably going to be under, which goes in. Sorry, over, which goes into under. So one tech. Oh no, that's a. Oh, hang on now. What is that? Is this the weird thing again? Do you remember the?
Yeah, where you got a 2-eye with me, Bane.
Oh no, I was correct. Yeah, so it is over. I thought that was Red Bryant for a second. I got confused. So yeah, they're playing this guy in a G. Let's go back slightly. So you can see here the strong safety's down to the Y, so solid rotation because it's to the tight end. Here's our 3 tech. Here's our 2-eye nose. Here's our big end. Here's our Sam. Here's our Mike. Here's our Will.
Mm-hmm.
So it's over, and then over with Y trade becomes under. They're happy for that to happen. And again, free safety now down to the flex side. So flex rotation.
Yeah, so Cam technically becomes the free safety, right? Because he's
the
weak side.
Yeah. And then the same here, but now the Sam is to the tight end, and solid cover 3 became flex cover 3. Over front became under front. Here's our Sam to the curl. Here's our hook curl. Here's our hook curl. Here's our curl flat. Or they call these buzz, which is confusing. Anyway, here's our post third. Here's our third. Here's our third. The reason they call it buzz is because it's not really like a curl flat, which would be like here. It's more like get to the top of the numbers. Bo Pelini called it curl sail, right, Griff?
Yeah. Just pretty intuitive.
Which you can see Bruce Irvin here is doing exactly that. He's really checking that this fullback isn't run blocking, but as soon as he realizes it's a play action, he sails, and his role here is basically get to the upfield shoulder of this dude, remove the sail route.
Well, and look at Bobby too, pushing with it, pushing with the.
Wow, that's a great drop.
Malcolm,
oh my
Malcolm
gosh,
Smith,
that's gorgeous. So Wagner gets, he's already the weak hook, right? Because he's got 2 over here and 1 over here. So
yeah,
he's the weak hook. I was marveling at Malcolm Smith.
Yeah, Malcolm too. Because I'm saying if Vernon was running an out or a sail.
Oh right, yeah. Oh yes, yeah. So Wagner's in tune for the sail route here because that's as a strong hook defender. His issue is this, because even if this guy's going to sail back to the sail route, he still has to be aware of that and come down at a certain point, and the QB could look him there. So if we can, because there's no other real threat deep in this area here, the strong hook can get underneath the sail route, which Wagner's so good at, which you can see he's almost becoming a cover 2 corner in his strong hook. But Malcolm Smith's drop here is astonishing.
It's no wonder they try to get him on the
field. Way he just visions the 2 as well and sees that he's up. But again, flow-wise, backfield-wise, he gets full flow away from him. So he knows that he's really going to be opposite hash taking this route, though, down the pipe.
And you can see Cam not playing the Final 4 rules and not looking to push to the strong side because it was probably game plan because they did so much X isolation, the 49ers did back then, to try to get 4 receivers to one side so Cap could kind of work a comeback or a go or something isolated to Crabtree.
Yeah, or possibly they just didn't do that at that point. They probably had it in, but I don't know if they ever needed to, play the Final 4. I'd have to go and watch.
And like they didn't really respect the check down as much.
No, they didn't need to.
Yeah,
almost. So what Griff means by the Final 4 is 1, 2, 3. Here's our Final 4. Well, if we're sailing up here, we're running back with this here. He's a deep corner, so he can't handle it. Who is going to handle? We've got this here. Who is going to handle this dude? It would typically be with full flow away. This guy is probably going to handle that. But as Griff points out, Cam, they don't match Cam like that. They just say, Buzz, get in this one window because he's the backside one-on-one.
Yeah. That's a crazy drop from Malcolm Smith.
Yeah,
that's Vernon ludicrous. Davis, man. That's Vernon Davis.
Yeah, I love the hand contact as well to get in phase.
You remember that play where you broke it down in I think 2018 Brian Schottenheimer when he Tyler Lockett, they got Tyler Lockett matched up with Malcolm Smith and Russ just puts it in the bucket, and Tyler catches it over the shoulder.
Yeah.
Malcolm Smith was step for step with Tyler Lockett. I mean, step for step, and that was 2018. It was good coverage. It was just a great throw, and you know, Tyler Lockett being Tyler Lockett, like Malcolm's coverage on that was perfect. That was Tyler Lockett, you know.
Yeah.
So Malcolm might have been something if he could have gotten starter reps.
Yeah. So Galen points out that this isn't actually Byron Maxwell as the right corner because he got hurt on the previous play, which, again, you kind of saw him get banged around there in the head. That looks very painful. So here, Furman's at right corner, so that might also be why Cam's helping. But here he kind of gets low-key beat. But the ball is not thrown very well. Any thoughts on that, Griff?
Excuse me, not really. Cap didn't really have the best touch, but he could rifle it.
Yep. Yeah, Crabtree was always so good at the just being so physical at the top of the route.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 2nd and 10. Right. So that's Phoenix again. So I wonder who the nickel is right now. Lane?
Yeah, it's Lane.
Yeah. So here we have strong hook, curl flat, deep third, Will, Mike in the weak hook, free safety. Oh my gosh. Their run game was so bad. What?
They were just rattled, man. I'm sure there were communication errors at the stadium and everything.
Yeah, this looks like a complete comms error.
And the whole defense was looking to kill something, so.
Interesting stunt going on here. Like to two gap the two gap Clemens here almost. So 3rd and 15. Well, that could be a whole number of things, right?
Right.
And the back is strong, so that's you get this kind of alignment. What would your best guess here be?
I'm gonna guess it's gonna be Phoenix check with Earl Thomas coming into the weak hook and Cam spinning to the deep middle. Because if it was because they did play some quarters off of this look, right? Panther. I think that the nickel at the top of the screen is that Thurmond. I think he would play with a little bit more inside leverage initially.
Yeah, he's more inside eye there, right?
Yeah, I think he's tipping it that it's going to be cover 3.
With Wagner's alignment on the back, I'm wondering if it's man. But that doesn't say man.
Right. Let's find out.
No, you're right.
Oh, yeah, it is cover 3. It's so funny how they disguise it, and it's like every time it's the same shit back then.
The pass rush is ridiculous.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like even like Clinton McDonald, like he won a lot. Like as a rush nose, like this guy, he got paid. He got a nice 3 years, 14 million with Tampa Bay back then. That was a nice chunk of change. Now Bobby's strong hook drop is interesting. Like he gets really wide. And that probably is what the splits and the tendencies were telling him to do back then.
Yeah, and I guess he knows he's got Earl coming here, and he knows the down and distance, so he's probably worried about the deep stick and then catch and run where this is here, the rotation's away. He knows where the safety help's coming.
Good point.
But also, where's the QB looking? Kind of glanced outside, so I guess.
Yeah, so Cam is technically the deep middle safety, and it really hammers home how Maxwell's on an island, and you always talked about the weak post, right?
Yeah.
How that was a potential problem.
Yeah, I love what Malcolm Smith is able to do here with his body presence. That's such a pain in the ass because this receiver's like really get out my way. They like squeezing this. No illegal contact either.
Dude, look at Chris Clemens. The hump move. He lifts that guy.
That's crazy.
God, he was strong as hell, dude. So there are 3 clean wins. Clemens, McDonald, and Averill. Their best player doesn't even get a win on this snap. And the concept is completely bottled up too. Just killer defense.
Did he complete that? Oh my gosh!
Did he?
He might have done.
All right, let's see it. That's the funny thing. Like you don't even watch the ball after a while. You watch.
Yeah, the D line absolutely went to town.
All right, but how does Cap get this ball? Is that Anquan?
No, it hit the ground.
Oh, okay.
Oh, remember? Let's watch this. I think this is a fun one. Oh my god. Oh my god. If he scored, oh my god. See, this is a great. This is like a Beastquake, Griff.
Yeah.
This is a Beastquake type of run. This is an underrated run, right? I guess because of the 4th down stuff, it gets forgotten.
Yeah.
But this is insane.
Well, I mean, I remember this run. It was a big time thing.
I love the kick.
Yeah. And that was him trying to break the shoestring tackle, right?
Yeah.
And this was duo.
I think it's just zone, right?
Yeah, it's zone.
What a cutback, though.
Yeah. So he knows he has that. He knows he has that bubble to cut back to.
People don't talk about this run enough.
Yep.
A 40-yard touchdown.
Yeah, 40 yards, right? So wait, who screws up in the run fit for the 49ers? So they're in tight.
Look at that.
They're they're in tight. So 31.
Tight wheel 6.
Yep. So wait. Is 26 in the
26 is the cloud.
Okay.
Yeah. So
35 is in the C.
Well, this is the thing. I think this is the half. I think this is the cloud. I think this is the
Okay.
quarter.
Right. Yeah, it would have to be. Yep.
But 94 and 53 have some tough moments here. 53 in particular.
So are Willis and Bowman ball fitting right now? So is Willis playing C to front side A?
With how Fangio does it?
And then
yeah, this looks like here, right? And then
okay.
here,
So you think the corner's in the fit then?
Here. The corner has to be, because there's a... Well, it's
Well,
Fangio, so we don't know that, but it's a nub set, and he is the cloud.
so then Willis needs to play the front side A, but then he screws himself up going into the.
Well, he kind of makes 91 right.
Okay.
I'd say Bowman has a tough moment.
Okay. Yeah. No, definitely for Bowman. Yeah.
But then he's also expecting 31 in there, and 31's late. You know,
But even if he fits that sooner, he doesn't fall back if
no.
Bowman doesn't. David Bowie, man. The tackle.
What a run that is. God.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Marshawn's
10
eyes
all.
look crazy.
10. Look at this punching at the end. So this is over. All right. So this is Stone. So let me get rid of that. Sam, big end, nose. Although, actually, the nose looks shaded weird. This could be the bear thing again.
Yeah.
You know that weird thing, the 3, the Leo, and then the strong safety. This could be like the fever thing or whatever they were calling it. It's all off where the Y is, right? We'll have to see the end zone. Oh my god. Oh my god.
That's crazy range from Earl, but they lost contain on this one though.
Yeah, but that hit is nuts. Oh yeah, so it is yeah, it is Stone. Although it's interesting how Will Mike Sam, yeah, that makes sense. And then
yeah, so Cam needs to be the edge setter or the he just gets influenced away.
this reminds me, it's not the same play, but do you remember the Bo Pelini plays where he's breaking down them at Candlestick and he's like he's like he's like moaning at Cam Chancellor and for dropping out when there's run action.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of concept, right?
Right. He's not keying right.
Yeah. So Cam is the edge setter, but he gets influenced by this bunch and tries to drop under it. And it skinnies down. Still, the way they pull is like really kind of for to secure the first level, right?
Right.
Like then they haven't been able to climb much.
I think Greg Roman just got his lunch eaten by.
Yeah, I mean Malcolm Smith again. What a play that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Bobby's got to press down because that's his gap. But then when he sees the pull, he has to work here. But yeah, Cam's the edge, and the edge is run off. Which there is conflict there, but also you have a deep third corner for a reason, and
Yeah.
two is showing you cracks. So his eyes are just like, I guess he just thought pass from that release.
Good point. You see Meebane cross face so that Bobby can pull with the puller.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's very good, isn't it? Oh my god, that hit is violent. Oh, how old is Frank Gore now?
Like 40.
Oh. So he does he fumble the ball? Yes, maybe. They play like no. So 2nd and 1. Okay, so same front.
Yep.
And coverage wise, guys, so it's Stone. This is the curl sail. This is the curl sail. Here's our weak hook curl. Here's our strong hook curl. Here's our 3. Here's our post third. Here's our third. Here's our third. You see, Cam doesn't make the same mistake here. Malcolm Smith is geared the hell up to just destroy his D.
Yep.
They just get it.
Clemens too.
So this is just duo, right?
Yep.
Although
Where do you go? Where do you go? Clemens plays this really well.
Oh yeah, that's so cool how he reads that type of block and then fits to his leverage, right?
Uh-huh. The restricted one arm tackle.
Look at Red Bryant as well. Understanding what type of block that is, and then what?
Look at his feet. Look at the big man move his feet.
Because guys, he knows from the concept that that's kind of like a gap, like fold block on the backside of the gap concept, and so duo runs aren't hitting up here. They're pressing front side and then probably hitting front side. So he knows he can just get in here. He's in short yardage as well. He's just making a play.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
So well done. Though. Yeah, well done. 1st and 10. Okay, so same front again. Stone. Get play action. Look how quick Cam's out there. Oh, wow. What a drop that is. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Dude, Malcolm was really freaking good.
Cam and Malcolm here is unreal.
Yeah.
Kaepernick's like, I thought we had this or this. He's like, no. So then come backside. What do they have back? Oh, backside just gets like absolutely. Oh, and still makes the catch.
Throw. What an absolute cat throw and catch, man.
Yeah, because Bobby's like, there's no freaking way.
Yeah, look at Cap fit that in. That's very reminiscent of the ball placement from Geno to DK against the Cowboys on the touchdown run.
Yes, yeah, good point.
And like Maxwell plays this well, even tries to get into an undercut position. An absolute bullet from Kaepernick.
Yeah, Maxwell's out there battling. And is this his first play back after he got hurt?
No, he's been back.
Yeah, this is a bullet.
Gotta see the end zone angle on that throw.
Yeah, that'll be pretty. I mean, he gets this is good patience from Maxwell. You see how he's staying square, and then he gets a wide inside release eventually. He even gets a hand on in this position. This is pretty good. Then at the catch point, this is physical play. But ultimately, he has to pick a leverage side. Going for the undercuts, bold. And you could say maybe try and get really it's just the perfect throw.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of disruption here. The reason Wagner doesn't get deeper is because he's checked on this. It's not bending across. So then he's thinking, I can just kind of drop into my landmark, which he got full flow away, right? So it's like back here. But he's also thinking, when the QB sets up, I can set up so that I don't get too deep for the check down here. So the cube sets up, he sets up, he's thinking bang, bang, and Smith is probably thinking I need to come down, and this is just an unreal throw, like unreal. Wow. I mean, you said he could throw a dart, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's no wonder Harbaugh chose Kaepernick in the middle of the season over Alex Smith. Smith was the best season of his career.
Yeah, like just practices the contrast.
Yeah, Cap was good, man. Got screwed over. All right.
Another naked.
Yep, that's rough.
Well, designed rollout, right?
Yep.
That'll happen. Bruce just got a bit hungry.
And you can see how it's a setup off of that formation. They're like 4 strong series.
The same power run, the same bunch. They get the same stone front from Seattle, and Bruce just gets too hungry. Heck of a block from Crabtree there as well against press.
Now against the 49ers, this was a touchdown. I mean, against the Packers, it was a touchdown.
Yes.
The previous year in the NFC Championship game.
Yes.
But Earl and Maxwell run it down. Still a great call from Harbaugh or Roman, whoever's calling plays.
Yep.
All right, so same formation to the boundary again. Ball's on the left hash.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
So, is this still? So
This is just classic Boston over zone Y.
Yeah. So there's no Stone. So rather than this guy being the 4-eye type, like the Red Bryant, they've got this guy as Mike B. So why would we play him in a 4-eye, especially when they've just run to the wide side? Let's just put our speed on the edge here. What that means is rather than the Sam being on the ball down here, because we've got the big end in here, the Sam walks off the ball here. He plays in the B. Here's our Mike. Here's our Will. Here's our corner. Here's our strong safety down to the Y tight end, as Griff said, or the Y tight end over zone Y. So they just call this Boston. And then you could tag like Stone, that Stone front we talked about, Stone Boston together. Here's our corner, here's our corner, here's our post third. Is that 5-step? 7.
I think that's 7 from under center. Bennett wins immediately. Jesus, Bennett. Good God.
Yeah, and that's why you play Michael Bennett as the 5 tech rather than playing Red Bryant as the 4-eye.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just, what is that? Swipe, forklift, rip?
Indicators-wise, he must have just known pass, right?
Right, because it's under center, right? So he's not thinking, like, what, he's coming off the ball like this.
That is ludicrous.
Incredibly good player, my God. And then you have really good zone drops underneath.
Yeah, like, I mean,
flooding the coverage.
I mean, back foot hasn't quite hit, but like,
like you've accounted for everything, getting 5 over 3. And then Bruce does a good job buzzing, but then staying leverage for the check down too.
Yeah, because Bruce gets the fakes towards him and his bubble, so he does a pretty good job recovering. And I mean, he's such an impressive athlete.
And
like,
look at Maxwell's midpoint, considering the condensed split and the route concept and what's killed them recently.
Yeah. So also real quick on Bruce, I love the way he stays on this leverage hip, like the angle off this drop relating to that. And so on Maxwell, the midpoint leverage, it's almost like it's just such a good angle, right? He's not gonna get beat to his back. He understands that that's coming round. You can still see that, can't you, chat? Yeah,
it's perfect.
His best stuff is when he's got his butt to the sideline like this. He's so good at even like from press, like his midpoint stuff was so good. And he had to do it quite a bit, right? Because generally teams would try and put their more receivers to this side because they knew Sherm was just going to eliminate a guy.
God, Bennett was so good, bro. Absolutely none of those verticals are an option. None of the vertical routes, the corner, the go. God, how is Michael Bennett real? Like, he's 280 doing that. He's 280. His pads are low. He doesn't even he just pushes his hands off of him. It's like not even like a pass rush move. He just pushes his hands off of him and rips through.
Crazy. Okay, so that was great. That brings up, that can't be 2nd and 9. Oh, wait, what? No. That can't... Really?
Oh, so he fumbles it and the lineman picks it up. No way.
So that is... That would have been like second and... Whoa, this game was freaky. It would have been like second and
16 or
16, 17.
Yeah.
And instead, they get second and 9. Wow.
Lucky.
Okay, so over front again. So again,
Those
chat.
three,
Think
no.
how many
No.
design snaps of Think how many design snaps of under we've seen in this game. There's been under which has become under because they've played over, but mainly an over front team.
Matty, look what the coverage is. It's Reno.
Okay, this is cool. So this is very cool. So over when Seattle got slot formation, so single width. So here's a tight end, here's a tight end. Where's the corner? There isn't. Where's the receiver? There isn't one. And then there's a slot here, right? There's a receiver, there's a receiver. So what Seattle was able to do is they were able to play cover 3, run fit wise. So have +1 in the box, but over the slot side, they'd be able to play 3 over 2. So how's that possible? Well, Earl Thomas is reading the number 2. Richard Sherman is reading the number 2. Now they're stacked, so it gets a bit different. But essentially, if this was a normal split, and again, Google, Twitter search Reno. Griff has some great examples of it from normal splits, and there's also playbook pages on Twitter. But if 2 runs out within 5 yards, Sherman would jump 2, and then Earl Thomas would play over the top of the 1. If they both run vertical, Earl Thomas plays high and outside on the number 2, and Sherman would play the 1. Now, that sounds a bit like Palms, right? Where there's this guy who is essentially dropping into the curl, but if 3's to the flat and these guys are vertical, then he has to play 3 to the flat because they're both run off. But what's cool, as I said, is this guy's the post third player, so they have Earl Thomas playing high and outside on 2 because if this guy runs a deep over, this guy can play it. We've also got the cover 3 element of this guy almost as the 3 receiver hook, the weak hook. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gaps, and you have 8 in the box.
Right.
So if anything else to add on that?
No, it's kind of brilliant, isn't it? It's cover 3 with like palms built into it, so that you can stay +1 in the box.
Yeah.
Let's look at this route distribution. So,
and it just clamps up a lot of the. So they get spot, snag, like bad snag, like So they get. This is actually a great example as well, Griff. Is it switch verts here? I don't know what happened at the bottom.
I'm not sure.
I think they get like this. But anyway, so for this guy, out of the stack, both guys aren't vertical, so he essentially becomes a wall the crosser player. So he's walling the crosser. They were reading 2. They see this guy out of the stack go short, so Sherman basically becomes the cloud. Earl Thomas is looking to play high and outside on the 2, and then 3 to the flat. Sherman can help on the corner and then come back down to the flat route. And then on the backside, it just plays out like man-to-man, right?
Yeah, it does. It's man-to-man on the backside. It's weird, though, that Bruce doesn't take 3 through. But I guess because 1...
It's because it's a stack.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
If you read, it says... let me find it. I was literally looking at this earlier today. Um, disregard 3 to the flat unless 1 and 2 go vertical.
Okay.
Own the first in-breaking route.
There you go. Perfect.
If it's, what would you call this? Flood, split, or flow? This is flood, right?
Well, it's 3x2 final distribution, so wouldn't it be split?
Sure. Yeah. So own the first in-breaking route. And that's what he does. I mean, where'd you go with this football? Oh my god.
That's the crazy play. So it's well defended, right? It's perfect. Like Earl has perfect coverage on this all the way through.
Wow.
I mean, if this is Phillip Rivers hops around and hits the shallow route.
What the three
Yeah.
or yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Big,
and Sherm rallies and they make the tackle. Wow, back to back crazy plays.
that's an incredible play from Colin Kaepernick, man.
Unreal.
And a great play from Anquan Bolden, too, to stick with that. Earl has perfect coverage. Now, you could say Cam is the deep post player.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
He does overplay Maxwell's.
Plays like it's cover 2.
Yeah. I mean, he's just reacting, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Wow. What a lunatic. Oh, football's so cool.
Earl can't believe it, man. He can't believe it.
Yeah, he's like, no freaking way.
And Bennett loses his balance. If he doesn't, he probably wins that
Oh
round.
my god.
It's like a batter whiffing on a fastball with Earl's hand, and you feel like you're right on it, but you're just late a second.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be if there's a picture of that, that would be a great. I doubt there is because they're obviously all here, but
Yeah.
that would be such a good picture, especially if they'd lost, you know.
Right.
But they didn't.
He's in disbelief, man.
Wow, they got a big special team. Oh no, yeah, they got a big special teams play. Doug Baldwin.
I remember that play happening. I was like, oh my God, they're alive. They're alive.
This is good. I'm very much enjoying this. Okay, so they settle for a field goal. So there's 3:55 left in the third quarter, and they're down by 4. So now it's Stone again, but here's KJ Wright as the Sam. So they run weak this time. Good luck.
It's a hell of a play from KJ.
Well, Red Bryant's been an absolute maniac. He's so big.
You have McDonald in at base. It's interesting.
Yeah, like how the rotations work themselves out.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he's the backup nose.
Right.
Did they stunt here? I don't think so, right?
I don't know. I just think he reads the initial blocks.
Yeah, maybe the fact that they were folding so much.
The second level alignment is weird. Are they in man?
I don't think so.
No.
I think this is just how this is just how it works, where they want to be able to jack that up, because like gap, right? Like spill it out to this, kind of like what we saw. So this year, guys, we saw stuff just like this. But what would happen is this guy would be here. There'd be a big ass bubble here, which like if you're getting duo, then it's not, as we've talked about, it's not going to hit up here. Unlikely, right? But then this guy would be like here, or they'd be in too high. And then they'd end up having to like blitz the nickel all the time, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't really play a 4-eye ever. Similar defense again. But nub. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Yep.
That's insane. So, Cam, as the basically, if you're a curl flat player in cover 3, the general rule is you play the second guy through your zone. So, this dude is running off the corner. They're trying to run Cam off with this route, and he has to honor that, which he does, right? But the idea is you run this guy off, and then you throw that, which they do. But Cam has just the perfect leverage and depth and cushion on this route to then have the confidence to see, okay, the ball's coming out to the check down. I know my angle. I know my leverage. I'm going to stick my foot in the ground and bang this.
And bang it, he does. Just finding ways to make spectacular plays within like the regular fundamentals and techniques of what you're doing, man.
Yep.
And then look at Bobby playing the sail like crazy.
Yeah.
Which it's not a sail, but the threat of a sail.
Yeah.
Boom. Poor Vernon Davis.
Yeah. And they ruled that incomplete. That's a fumble.
He recovers it anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, an incompletion there is kind of significant, right?
Yeah.
They might have reviewed that. Also,
Perfect.
textbook technique, like the head is out the way, the shoulder is on the ball, the head is behind. Now you'll be able to see it here.
Poor Vernon
in the chest.
Davis. Poor Vernon Davis.
Isn't there another one coming? No,
that was the 2012 game.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's 3rd and 10 because they ruled that incomplete, which is significant. So this looks like man-to-man. And this is when they get exotic. So we've got like an odd front. We've got this. We got this. We got this. We got this. Then we got Bruce as like a off-ball dude. Is this like... I don't know what they call this. But here's Sherman traveling. Here's a man. Here's a man. Here's a man. So it's most likely going to be spy, rats, send, man-to-man, 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 post third.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, who has the back, though? Oh, yeah, so it'd probably be...
They could just be funneling the back.
Yeah, but you'd want Bruce, Spy, and Colin, right? So I imagine Bobby's man on the back. But why you run fronts like this is you're trying to force big on big.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, could he come? But also, if it's big on big, and this guy's the extra guy, like the extra threat off the edge, then it's kind of forcing the back in over here, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so Kaepernick saw that and checked the play. Yeah, it's just... It's just double spy, I think. Well, yeah, funneling the... I think, yeah... Well, Wagner doesn't really care about the back, but that's because Kaepernick's flushed so aggressively.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just man-to-man.
It definitely seems like Irvin is more Kaepernick focused. But I don't know.
Right, yeah, I think so. Look how Cam jacks up Vernon again.
Yeah, that's good.
Literally the next play. And they're design flushing. they're running. Oh, where's my pen gone? Oh no. 1 second. I kind of need my pen. Okay, so they're running this like late hook in here, and then this guy's looping all the way around, along with Bruce as the spy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny, like how odd mirror 7 and all those concepts. Like it's like nothing in football is that new, right?
Right.
I understand this isn't cover 7, but you're playing man on the back end and flushing the quarterback. Okay, you're sending 4 here, but
Bennett is so strong, dude.
yeah.
All right.
So you get off the field. Now, I think this is the 4th down play. Yeah,
Yep.
here we go. 4th and 7.
Alden Smith. Come on, man. Oh, man. And I think Curse said Baldwin wasn't supposed to be anywhere near him. Like he was supposed to bend it in.
Yeah, which makes sense because it looks very scary, doesn't it?
Yep.
It's almost like he thought the ball was for him. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right, so now suddenly, after all that, they're up by 3. Wow, that's a heavy ass front. It's just Stone again, but 13 personnel taking the shot. Oh wow, that's defense.
Yep.
So Maxwell gets in a bit of a spot, but the recovery to the catch point is very impressive. Also, the timing of the play.
Yeah.
Not much more to say about that one. Good landmarks. So 3rd and 5, Griff.
3rd and 5. They are in
Phoenix.
Phoenix again. So cover 3 buzz. They're just playing
What
their
is this
room.
route concept?
You can see Earl leaning to the field slot pretty heavily.
What is this route concept?
It's Greg Roman, man. Well, it's kind of like
But we've seen this before where it would have made more sense for this guy to be here, right? And then that. Like, why is he hitching? Like, he ends up running these two. It's too tight, right?
yeah. Maybe he's expecting an aggressive buzz from Thurman from the nickel to like get out of there.
Yeah.
And that would just be wide open. I don't know.
Instead, though, he reroutes it, right? Because it's 3rd and 5.
Yeah. Nobody wins up front. It comes open anyway.
Oh, my. But Cam just absolutely destroys guys. Look at this. Oh.
Really can't. It's crazy that they're the ones to make the play or make the tackle anyway.
Right.
All right.
I mean, nothing.
Hell of a play by McDonald. That 3 technique.
So essentially, a lot of the time this plays out like turn back, fast flow, right?
Yeah.
And here Smith shoots his gap and does turn back the fullback. But yeah, as you said, this is that like fever front, right?
Yeah.
Another massive hit from Cam.
Yeah, good God. Just plants him, dude.
Yeah. That's the thing with these games. Some of these players, every play or like every other play they're in is a career highlight for some players. Like it's
Right.
it's pretty nuts.
Oh, Bobby. Oh my God. Look at Bobby. That's insane from Bobby, dude.
Wow.
From the strong hook, melting all the way underneath like a high cross, basically. Now, what the hell is this concept, though?
It's almost like a designed, right?
Yeah, what the hell? Is it supposed to be a screen to the running back? I don't think he can get out in time.
Yeah, they run the routes really weird. That's not the first time we've seen them run with like a lack of intensity downfield.
Yeah.
We saw that in the first half as well. But yeah.
Either way, even though it's like a fake route, it's still really impressive from Bobby.
Yeah.
All right.
Man coverage.
Man coverage, cover 1.
Someone false started.
3rd and 6. Cover 1 or
Yep.
man
Looks like
look
one.
again. Cover 1
One robber.
Earl Thomas is at his most dangerous when he's playing a robber, either a robber hook or a robber hole in cover 1. Oh,
Yeah,
this is
because
one of the
he's just
most famous.
activated.
Yeah. This is one of the most iconic Bennett Averill tandem rushes when they're on the same side.
Yep.
Malcolm in coverage with Vernon Davis, dude.
Yeah, from press as well, like and faking as though he's blitzing. That recovery at the top of the route is really impressive.
Yeah, that's insane.
He's so fast, like he's fluid. It's like he's running around.
I mean, he ran a 4.4.
People forget. It's crazy how close it got, you know.
Yeah. I mean, these were the 2 best teams in the league. So, like, on the flip side of it, it was the 49ers defense giving it to the Seahawks offense for most of it, right?
Yeah. I mean, not scoring here is no bueno, right?
Yeah. Fourth and 1. They don't get it. Oh, I remember this play. I remember the dread. I thought they were going to scoop it up and run it back.
Yeah.
Oh, my
And,
God.
I mean, does this play into a certain other thing that we won't talk about?
Oh, yeah. Sure. Well, it was a whole year later, right? I don't know. What ends up happening? Who ends up recovering it? The 49ers fall on it and then okay.
Hero from one.
Hero play from Michael Robinson, but still a turnover.
Yeah.
All right.
Phoenix check. No, Phoenix, sorry.
Yeah, just Phoenix. So Phoenix is when Cam is down, and the Phoenix check is when Earl is down to the weak hook. All right, so
they get an interesting run concept here. Bennett causes problems. Missed tackle.
Trying to go underneath it. Just a tough
Yeah,
play.
it's a
Bennett
tough
probably
run
gets,
concept. It's to the short side as well. Great tackle from Earl. Eyes through the thighs. And Cam again getting involved. So good at those late hits.
yeah.
Alright, Stone again. Oh, well, basically Boston now, right?
Yeah.
From the stack into Boston. Mike Bennett is the 5-tech. Here's Cam.
That's Red Bryant.
Oh, it is red. Okay, my bad. I thought he looked a bit big. There you go. Oh, wow, what a drop. Oh!
It's just Cam buzzing, right? Like buzzing to the right spot every time.
Yep, and then they
You do
threw the
that.
ball.
You do that consistently, something good will happen.
Oh, wow.
You have Maxwell midpointing.
So, yeah.
It goes to show like that's how you play 1 and 2 from a short condensed look.
Yep.
With the corner. Tariq Woolen and then 30 for the Bills this past week. Same thing, like Maxwell and Cam doing it the right way.
So here he's just seeing the key-wise, he's seeing that he sees the release of the tight end and then checks on that hi-hat, right?
Good point, yeah.
And Kaepernick doesn't think he can get under that. Oh, he's actually looking here and then he thinks, I've got this. I wish we could see Cam's eyes here or like his head. He's so quick to key that.
Right. He thinks he can just put it above and through his hands like he did to Earl, but it just wasn't the move.
Offense do something?
They can't block the front.
No. Yeah, their front was crazy good, right? Okay, so they settle for 3. So it's 23-17. And after the return, the 49ers have the ball at the 22nd yard line with 3:32 left in the game.
Here we go. They really run a toss to the field, okay.
This is such an interesting front.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I mean, it is Stone, right? But it's just like with the heavied up.
Well, that's why it's so similar to Bear because,
Yeah.
I mean, you've even got Clemens standing up, but I think Clemens is standing up because he wants to be able to cross face better.
Yeah.
Because he's just cheating.
Anticipating, yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny how, I mean, this 49ers offense is fairly predictable in terms of like what they do off of each formation. Like they kind of layer in their series, but
wow,
they're not very diverse.
This is such an interesting, how they handle this is interesting in the hooks.
Yeah.
They must have had a bunch alert that how they are going to handle that.
Right.
Like Smith basically takes the first in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry,
So
that's Wagner.
it's split flow, right? But they don't trigger the take back rules. So Bobby has to take three back or
Well,
three back.
Griff's thinking if it was take back, then that, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess with
It's almost like they play this as the first in, and then this is the melt across. Or they must have just known what bunch stuff they were getting as well.
I
Or is
guess
it
they
just
want
off QB as well?
yeah,
Like he
could
sets
be.
up, right?
Could be. They must not have thought about final three in this formation maybe.
Yeah. When you see teams like come up with like a beta like this for it, it's interesting that more teams weren't able to do it more often, you know?
Absolutely.
So 3rd and 2. Oh my god.
Alligator arms, I remember that one.
This is just Phoenix again.
hmm So you see Sherman's reacting to Kaepernick, but we see Sherm communicate middle with his number one going under, and then he plays his smash rule. He falls deep for the corner route.
Yeah, but he knows what they're doing, doesn't he?
Yeah. Cam pretty much making Thurman's play for him.
Yep. So here we get Phoenix to 2x2.
See, do we see a C match from Cam on this one?
Yeah. Oh no, that's interesting.
Yeah, that is
They
very
they
interesting.
must have known. I think he's kind of late to it, right? I
Yeah,
think
maybe.
just QB posture. He's just thinking it's the drop just is not saying 4 verts. Like it's a one and a hitch,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. So remember in the Gus Bradley book, it says clear three-step drop. So this is three-step from shotgun or a quick game from shotgun. It's not going to be three steps. It's going to be one step. So he doesn't drop past one step, right? It's one
Yep.
step in the shuffle. So he's thinking it's quick game.
Yep. And so he's almost able to get in here. There's obviously this as well.
And it's basically snag, like a snag variant up top. So
Oh, Earl is so fast. What the hell?
completely different player, man. Utterly different, completely different.
Oh, wow.
So it's funny how Cam kind of becomes the buzz player,
Yeah, it's almost a hook exchange.
but it's just, reacting to the scramble rule.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And really it should be,
unfortunate. So Kaepernick making plays. That's a crazy throw right there, honestly.
yeah.
Imagine Kaepernick with Andy Reid.
Oh,
I'm not impressed with Jim Harbaugh, his offense, man. I mean, I guess it
what
was
in
well
this
coached
game?
and everything. Just in general,
Oh, right.
whatever.
In this game, they've had one good play call, I think. The rest has just
Yeah.
been capping it being an unreal playmaker.
So this is quarterback draw.
Yeah, and Phoenix. This is again Phoenix check. So here's our weak safety coming in the weak hook. Earl. Here's the cam in the. But they've checked lurk, right? They've got Is that Averill as a spy? No. Yeah. Which like damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of running around to get 2-3 yards. 2nd and 6, 4 yards. So they've really started on this drive, knowing they're getting past. They're just lurking with this dude as the spy. So just rush him 3, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then, again, this is Phoenix check. Same concept they got earlier, because they're not rotating strong. Cam's not smacking into that.
Sherm wants an interception so bad right here.
Yeah, he's leaning. Tips and overthrows, he's probably thinking.
Mm-hmm. Both teams have Super Bowl on their mind right now. Ooh.
That's a heck of a throw. He gets caught inside just too much, right?
Just a smidge. Look at how Bobby doesn't relate to the final 3. I mean, he's reading the quarterback. So I think they thought they could read Cap like a drum, like
right.
This game.
I mean,
it's probably wise.
It's kind of worked, right?
Right. So Cap still trusts his arm after the interception to Cam. He still thinks he can get this over him.
Yeah, and this is Phoenix again. Wow. Yeah, that's ballsy.
But, Cap's trying to win the game, so he's trying to win the game against one of the best defenses of all time.
Oh.
Not yet.
Nearly.
So just sitting down in the empty space.
Yeah. So I guess we should probably talk about the corner technique. But there'll be other opportunities, but we haven't really spoke about it much. We spoke about midpoint, but essentially when you're corner and you get one receiver, or it could be a receiver and a tight end, but that split would be a bit tight. But you can play it like man on deep. So you're reading the threat into your zone. If the one you're lined up on is vertical into your zone, so like 6 yards or more, but basically if you're impressed, if his release is vertical, then you play man-to-man on him. So that may seem obvious, but then your technique's going to be more man-like. So you're going to press the crap out of him. If he outside releases, you're going to man-turn with him. Like, you're not going to... If it was zone, if you're playing press, you'd bail and get your butt to the sideline and play zone principles. And so you'd be conscious of 2 up the seam as well. So, like, down the line, Shanahan got really good at breaking this, because what he'd do is he'd put a tight end here, have a receiver out here, know they're going to play man on deep like this, which has a lot of positives to it. And then he'd run, like, this guy vertical and outside release, and then some crazy, like, double seam routes or wheel routes from the tight end in the slot behind the deep third corner who played, like, sucked up. Which is something I think he's actually spoke about. I think Sherman spoke about it with, I think it was Kevin Clark on his podcast. Or maybe Robert Mays. Anyway. We'll talk about the corner techniques another time, but here Sherman has multiple receivers, so he's thinking pure zone. He's thinking zebra third. And he is responsible for midpointing the 1 and the 2. Now, 2, really his read is more like 2 to 1, because 2's up your seam. You're starting on the 1. You kind of need to feel the 1, but lean towards the 2. If the QB is looking outside of you, then on your divider, you will lean 60-40 more to the 1 again. If the QB is looking away from you, then you can lean even more to this 2. 60-40 more to the 2. But your midpoint is in between these 2. Then you lean this way or that way based off where the QB's looking. QB's looking away, so you'll see Sherm It really just ends up on the 2. Meanwhile, free safety, or strong safety in this case, he knows, okay, I've got my weak hook coming in here. He's handling this seam or bender, so I can lean 60-40 to the 2 on this seam. Obviously, then we read the QB still. And then I'm still the mid-post third player, so if this guy goes under, then I can play more in the post, for instance. Off 3 to the flat. That's a design beta, right?
Yeah, it's just taking advantage of
Depth,
the space
everything.
that's yielded. Yeah.
Oh, and then here we go.
No spoilers, Matty.
What we've all been waiting for. So now we've got pretty intense skies of who's coming down, right? But I think you can tell that there's a hole here. So Phoenix check. 3 up is 3. It is Earl Thomas. Then we've got the post third Cam here, but he can lean to the 2. Now, what we said, if we've got one receiver, we can play it like man principles. So Sherm is probably going to play basically press man on the outside on the 1. Griff, you got anything to add here?
No, it's Phoenix check again. I think they know what they're about to run. They're defending the end zone here. Above all else. Oh, so they get a reroute from their edge. It's not a drop 8. They get a reroute from Clemens. It's interesting. That makes sense. In the event that was an over route, but it's not. It's a stick route. So
yeah,
I think they were going to throw the boundary fade the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, like from a 49ers perspective, like it's easy to like I know for a time Kaepernick almost became a meme, right? Even before all that other stuff, right? Before he became blacklisted from the league. But that's besides the point. But even before that, I think he became like his struggles. Yeah, he kind of everyone loves to punch someone when they're down, right? But here, I mean, like where are you going with this football? I mean, okay, throwing at Richard Sherman, that's maybe you can question that. Michael Crabtree never scored a touchdown on the Seahawks, never caught a touchdown against the Seahawks, but that's rerouted to heck. We have layers here, and this guy's already been thrown over the head and is probably alert to that. We have a safety leaning over here. We have really strong hook presence here. The one-on-one is here, right? Like the safety's coming down to play this. Like the one-on-one is there. So what do you want him to do? Now, going for it all when, I mean, clockwise, what have we got? 1st and 10, ball on the 18, 40 seconds left. How many timeouts? 2 timeouts left. Maybe it was a bit soon. But, like, you have to get it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And you just had a nice play. And again, I spoke about how Sherman, he does that thing that it's not necessarily taught, where he steps as though he's locked his hip because he stepped forwards with the read step.
Mm-hmm.
But he's able to then push off the other foot and unlock the hips and get into the window. So it almost resets the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's like a quick jam without the quick jam element. Like without the hand, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And truly, he dominates the route, and then there's no room for it, and he knows they're probably going to want to throw the back shoulder.
I mean, he's the best cover 3 corner like ever, isn't he?
His ability to locate the football from here, the ability to have the confidence to look around this early because he's completely dominated this early part of the route.
Yeah.
And yeah, his ability to play the ball in these positions.
And Averill affecting it too.
Because that's quite scary, because he's in your blind spot, right? And you can feel him, and hopefully we get the angle where you can see how he's subtly feeling him with his near hand.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And they were using Bruce Irvin as a spy and trying to flush, I think, Kaepernick. Averill with the hit. Yeah, we won't see the arm work. Now, you want to talk about Malcolm Smith, Griff?
Malcolm? I was going to say, well, yeah. I mean, he's just buzzing out. He's buzzing out aggressively, but he's reading the quarterback right. So he's like, I better just turn and run. See what happens.
Tips and overthrows.
Tips and overthrows. But Averill affecting the throw is huge, too.
Yeah, it would have been interesting. Do you think it falls incomplete if Averill doesn't get the hit?
Cap can probably step into it more, and it probably just the ball goes deeper. But I think Sherman is all over it, all the way to the end zone, all the way to the boundary. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Dude, look at Sherm get up and walk away.
There's so many cool things. I love how when Smith did that, I was like, get down. And then old Thomas is like, get down.
Then Crabtree realizes it's over. Oh, man.
I don't think we're going to get the butt tap.
That's a crazy play, max extension. I mean, that is a heck of a play from Sherman. Oh, God.
So the one thing with the Malcolm Smith play is they have different terms for their like curl flap defender, right? So they call it buzz technique, but they have like reroute buzz, where this guy will play on the inside eye of the two, particularly a detached two, like we've got here, a guy in the slot. He'll play 5 yards off and then punch and widen on the two up the seam and then get wide. They'll have just like the straight up like get out. So as we've seen, like getting under the one, almost top of the numbers if the ball's in the middle. Like think where the numbers are, think where one would align if the ball's in the middle. And then they have like the backside stuff, right? Where again, you could just do top of the numbers, or here it'd be outside the numbers because the ball's on this hash. Or they have like a Leroy drop, right, Griff? Where they're kind of a lazy curl flat playing on the back. And we worked out, or you worked out last time we talked about this, that it could be named after Leroy Hill.
I think so, because he would have found himself in the will, right?
Right.
At will and
old. Slow. Jeremy says, I remember hearing people say Vernon Davis was an option on this play and open. True or myth? Well, let's watch Jeremy.
I mean, Jeremy might be talking about a different play. He may not be live with us right now.
I think it is this play, Griff. We've been on it for a while. Yeah.
Well, it's more of a pick a side thing. If you're throwing to the stick side, then he's targetable, but he's not going anywhere with this.
And the key, Jeremy, is Bobby Wagner is relating to this route. So watch the first few steps, right? Wagner relates to the route. Then his eyes come back to the QB and see the quarterback looking away. If Kaepernick had been looking over here, he would be here jumping the route pattern, right? Because Kaepernick looks away, Wagner holds his zone here. He doesn't need to get out here yet. So, no, it's not true. It's a myth, because you see how he nestles up with the QB looking over here. Just like how Malcolm Smith here, he knows he has this route, but he knows the QB's dialing up here. So rather than staying in his zone here, he runs back this way.
Yeah.
So saying Davis is wide open is more, it's just like, it's not understanding that, as Griff said, it's picking a side, but then it's not understanding zone coverage, and that if Kaepernick's looking this way, Wagner's here and this guy's here. Like, that's not how zone coverage works either. So it's nonsense. And it is an example of how, like, Kaepernick became like a fun meme, and I get it, because it's funny that Seahawks beat the 49ers was brilliant, wasn't it? But yeah, it's just inaccurate. But like, it's the type of thing that on a broadcast you can go, "Oh my god, he's wide open," and you can just crop this bit, and it's blatant.
Yeah.
Right. So there you have it. That was a lot of fun.
Super Bowl, that was awesome. That was
and Griff, I have great news.
What?
So
you got the Super Bowl?
I got the Super Bowl and I got the Saints game. Thanks so much to Abre Los Ojos. Ojos. I don't know what that means.
Sir. Los Ojos. Is that Ojos? Is that Howls? I don't know.
I hope it's something okay. Anyway, thank you so much though, because I've got the Saints game now and I've got the Super Bowl.
The Saints game is awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Because Sean Payton gets stuff going against them.
They actually, like, they've been beating the crap out of, and Payton came back with some good shit. So.
Yeah.
Right. Please do like the video. Ricardo, good to see you here. Brendan, we'll answer that Patrick Graham question next time. I don't know if we said he wasn't under serious consideration though.
I think I might have said that.
Well, we'll talk about that next time. Yeah, like the video, comment down below what content you want to see from us. We're going to have a Geno Smith kind of deep dive, I think. There's obviously going to be so much content when the head coach gets announced and the staff, because we'll like get our teeth into that. The Senior Bowl's coming up, so we'll talk about that. We might be able to learn some lessons from the playoffs. And then, free agency, draft, all of that cool stuff. So there's a lot of stuff. But we will continue, I think. I really enjoyed looking back at this. And after we got over the heavy stuff, especially the first half, they didn't run many defenses, but like they did it very well with beautiful understanding, simplicity, speed. And then certain players were very, 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 very good. And Cam Chancellor kind of made it all work. Like, he did a bit of everything. Right. Thank you, everyone. Until next time. Griff, give us some parting wisdom.
I don't know.